welcome to the channel. I'm the Swedish Dividend Investor. So, it's that time of the month where I go through each payment I received from my 126k portfolio. I hope you enjoy this type of breakdown. Let me know by pushing that like button. If you're new here, we talk about dividend stocks and ETFs, and we do valuations, all with a sweet Swedish accent. So if that sounds like something you're into, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates. Alright, starting off as always, we can see my portfolio value here. And here is the amount in US dollars. Just shy of 127k in dollar value. As we can see year to date, I was in the lead until the middle of June, but now Dow, S&P 500 and Nasdaq 100 has gained on my portfolio. Not that I care about short-term performance, it's just noise. But some of you care about it. My portfolio seems to do better when we get steep falls, like in 2022 or as we got in April this year. Moving over to my dividend payments. June has historically been a pretty bad month for me, since most of my Swedish stocks only pay dividend once or twice per year, usually the spring and the fall. June would kind of suffer, but let's dive into the first week of June. So, for the first week, I received 2 payments. First out is Cibus Nordic Real Estate. I've increased a lot in this position during the late winter and early spring, and my plan was to buy around 5 to 10 shares per week as long as they stayed below 170 Swedish crowns. Let's just say it didn't turn out the way I wanted. However, my 363 shares each paid me 0.758 Swedish crowns, so that comes out to 275.15 Swedish crowns. I don't pay taxes on Swedish dividends, so let's just convert it to dollars. As the making of this video, the exchange rate is 9.49 Swedish crowns for $1. So we divide 275.15 with 9.49 and we get $28.99. Sweet. Moving on to the next one. My second payment was from Pennant Park Floating Rate. Big oof right here. The dollar is down, and so is PFLT, and combined I'm down 21.51%. Ouch. Sure, the dividend isn't factored in here, and my yield on cost is 11%, but hey, I'm sure it will be fine in the long run. It's too bad I can't buy any more of this, since our European overlords decided this instrument is way too complicated for us plebs to buy. My 120 shares each paid 0.1025, so $12.3. I do have to pay a withholding tax on my international stocks. For American stocks it's 15%, so 1.85 in this case, which brings the net payout to $10.45. Summing up the first week, we land at a monthly total of $39.44. Let's go with the second week. This week I received 8 payments. First out is Amgen. Quite the roller coaster since I bought my 10 shares. Not the biggest nor the smallest position. My 10 shares each paid $2.38. So with some galaxy brain math, it comes out to $23.8. Less the withholding tax of 3.57, we land at 20.23. Amgen is a position I'm kind of stuck in. A bit too expensive to buy more, but not expensive enough to sell. I just wish they could crash down a bit so I can buy more. Alright, enough rambling. Let's get to the second payment. None other than JEPI. I'm just going to call them by the ticker. The long ETF names are pretty ridiculous. This position has not been added to since my initial buying, but I might start to add here, and its brother, JEPQ. More on that later. My 36 shares each paid me $0.094, so around $3.38. I don't pay taxes on my dividend ETFs registered in Ireland, so thank you. Let's talk about its brother, JEPQ. Ah yes, welcome to 2025, where we invest in high yield ETFs. This one has started to pay some nice dividend as of lately. I do think it's a lagging of the volatility we saw after Liberation Day in April. Checking their dividend, it was around 0.15 give or take. But the next payment is a whopping $0.3672. I don't know if they can sustain that, but I will keep that in mind. High volatility, huge dividends. Let's talk about the payment. My 36 shares each paid me $0.30, so that comes out to $10.8 and no taxes. Now it's time for the big brother and my favorite covered call ETF, JEPG. I made a video about how I sold Philip Morris, and long story short, I bought a lot of JEPG. I was at 160 shares by the time I got this dividend. Now I own 405 shares. I've invested 109k Swedish crowns, so that's almost 11.5k dollars, making this by far my biggest position. So now that I have reached my goal in JEPG with over 10k invested, I'm going to slowly add to JEPI and JEPQ. Alright, so my then 160 shares each paid me $0.223. That adds up to $35.68 and no taxes. We have 4 more payments for this week, so let's move on to the next one. XYLD. I added to this one and the next one with the profits from selling Philip Morris. And for now, I would say I'm happy with the size of my holding, going from 160 shares to 210. So my then 160 shares each paid $0.146, and that comes out to $23.36, and again, no taxes. Next up is QYLD. Like I said, I've also added some capital here, going from 150 to 196 shares. Pretty happy with that. So my then 150 shares each paid me $0.156, adding up to $23.4. Sure, I'm down about 9.7% excluding dividends, but the yield is over 12%, so I'm still on the positive. Alright guys, on to the next one. None other than Daniels Midland, a food giant with some sweet dividend track record. I like companies like this. Cyclical sectors like food and energy could give us some great opportunities to buy on the low for the cycle and sell high at the top of the cycle. It's a decent chunk of my portfolio, so my 100 shares each paid me $0.51, and with some highly complicated math, that comes out to $51. But I also have to pay for the robbery, the withholding tax, of $7.65. So my net payout was $43.35. This is the final payment for the week. Montrose Monthly Dividend ETF, another covered call ETF, and the last one for this month. It tracks and sells covered calls on the MSCI World Index. It's been okay, but this is my least favorite of my CC ETFs. So, my 309 shares each paid 0.426 Swedish crowns, so 131.63 in total. Converting it to dollars, we land at $13.87. Let's sum up the second week and add it to the monthly total. So the total for the second week was $174.07. Adding it up with the first week, the monthly total is currently at $213.51. Before we move on, what did you get paid in June? And what's your favorite payer? Let me know in the comments. For the third week, I got one payment. Realty Income Corp. Man, I wish they could trade down a bit and stay there for a decent while so I can buy more. We get opportunities like this every now and then, but until that, I'm just holding and collecting those sweet dividends. My 111 shares each paid me $0.2685, so we land at $29.80. Less the tax of $4.47, we land at $25.33. Let's just add that to the monthly total. We land at $238.84. Now, for the fourth week, I received two payments. The first being Manulife Financial, a Canadian insurance company. Since we have three currencies involved here, Swedish crowns, Canadian dollars and US dollars, let's just convert it from Canada to US dollars at the end of the calculation. So my 130 shares each paid 0.44 Canadian dollars, so 57.2 Canadian dollars. And we remove the 15% tax of 8.58, we land at 48.72 Canadian dollars. And we convert it to the freest currency, so 1 US dollar is 1.37 Canadian dollars, so that comes out to 35.48 US dollars. Neat. The final dividend payment is up next. Rubis SCA, a French energy company. They usually only pay once per year, in June, but I did get a special dividend in November 2024. Now, I think France did change their withholding tax from 15% to 25% last year, so that sucks. I do, however, get a full refund of all the withholding taxes I pay, but I have to wait a year for it. So my 100 shares of Rubis each paid me 2.03 euros, so 203 euros, and we remove the 25% tax of 50.75. We land at 152.25 euros. So let's convert that to US dollars. $1 is 0.85 euros. So if my math is correct, that comes out to $179.11. Before adding everything up, we also need to take a look at my interest from my savings account. I'm a bit early with this video, but it fitted my schedule to do the video this weekend. On the 30th of June, I will get paid 111 Swedish crowns. Sadly, the tax rate here is 30%, but it's still money coming in. 77.7 Swedish crowns after taxes, and that comes out to $8.19 roughly. So, adding up the two last weeks, we land at $222.78. And for the grand total for the month, we land at $461.62. Let's hop on over to my dividend tracker and compare to last year's dividends. We can see I was paid 2,345.73 Swedish crowns in June of 2024. So let's convert that to dollars. $247.18. So to calculate the difference, we take 461.62 minus 247.18 divided by 247.18 times 100. That's an increase of 86.75%. Wow. Now, I made some huge changes with my portfolio since a year ago, so I can't really expect this growth to continue, but nonetheless, I think it's pretty awesome. Next month, the number to beat is 3,490.30 Swedish crowns, or $367.78. Do you think I will be able to do it? If you enjoyed this, make sure to subscribe for more monthly dividend payments, dividend stocks, ETFs and valuations. Also, don't forget to obliterate the like button. It helps me reach more viewers. But that's it for this one. I'm the Swedish Dividend Investor, and I will see you in the next one. Stay smart, stay patient, and keep stacking those dividends. Ha det gött!